spectacular views, offering an
Hi there, this
out-of-this-world
video's live,
experience.
astronomical,
Many would love to be an
disabled,
astronaut, but very
space,
few make the cut.
man, video, UK, 2022.
Now in Paris, the European Space Agency has added
Time's
some
down
new
there.
names to the Roll of Honour.
Date today, 24th of May,
Selected from more
24th
than
of November
22,000
2022.
applicants, this is the astronaut class of 2022. But for the first time, ESA is widening its pool of talent by recruiting the first ever para-astronaut.
Incredible, man.
Being an amputee, being an astronaut was never really on my radar because, like the military, you wouldn't pass the medical selection process.
John McFall is a Paralympian sprinter. His right leg was amputated above the knee after a motorbike accident. He's been selected using exactly the same criteria as all European astronauts.
First disabled man in
he has
space.
a disability.
When ESA announced that they were looking for candidates with a physical disability to run this astronaut feasibility project, I looked at the person specification and it just kind of called out to me. I felt so inspired by it. I felt compelled to apply, and I thought I would have the skills, a mix of skills and scientific background, that I could really help them answer this very aspirational question of, can we get someone with a physical disability into space, to work in space safely? And I thought I could be that person.
All astronauts have to undergo rigorous training. Part of John's job will be to test how the kits like spacesuits and spacecraft need to be adapted. His selection doesn't mean he'll definitely get to go into space, but ESA wants to pave the way to make it happen.
You look at sports in particular, which is where I guess I hail from, but look at the way that inclusion, especially physical disability, breaks down those boundaries of perception.
He could well be the first spaceman, disabled man in space. Could be one. Could well be.
Wheel of
Incredible.
People's perceptions of ability.
The last time a British astronaut got one of the jobs was more than a decade ago. That was Tim Peake, who got his trip to the International Space Station in 2016. Now 2 more Brits may get the chance of a mission. Megan Christian, who's in the reserve squad, and Rosemary Coogan, an astrophysicist, who's part of the Professional Astronaut Corps and will start her new job soon.
Incredible.
How are you feeling about the training that's ahead? I mean, today's just the beginning, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Today is just the beginning. It's the end of a very long selection process, but in no way an end. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter. I think the training is going to be incredibly exciting. I can't wait to
astronomically amazing, more likely.
Together.
There will soon be many opportunities for these new astronauts, including trips to the moon with the Artemis mission.
I would love to go on a mission into space, and the International Space Station would be fantastic, but it would be amazing to be part of the Artemis project. So going to the moon would be one of my aspirations.
The hope is this marks the moment we open up space to everyone.
There you go, guys.
BBC News, Paris.
There you go.
Let's talk to Libby Jackson, Head of Exploration at the UK Space Agency. Libby, good to see you.
Good morning, Megan.
Good morning. So what do you make of this? This is it's bringing more and more diversity. I mean, obviously, this man isn't definitely going up into space, but he's part of the programme, isn't he, that will be training?
Yeah, indeed. And it's all about how much these astronauts are role models, are leaders. They're the visible part of the space sector that we all rely on every day, that we were there in Paris to invest in and support. And so I'm delighted to see the range of diversity in that astronaut corps increasing. And for John in particular, I know he is going to be in the first person to hopefully go to space who has a disability, and we're going to set out on that journey, that project, to do everything that we can to make that happen, and to show that really space is somewhere for everybody, and more and more people can be a part of it.
And of course, Libby, he's a Paralympian as well. You have to be so fit, don't you, to go up into space? We know that just from conversations we've had with Tim Peake.
It's a very rigorous selection process. You have to be generally fit and healthy. John, absolutely a Paralympian. We've seen a whole range of different people, and they're all generally fit and healthy, in good shape. But it's superhuman is the wrong term. We're just looking for people who can survive the rigors of a launch, which is very physically demanding, and if they're going to spend 6 months in space, not be troubled by anything that would require us to bring them home, because that can be very expensive and difficult for a mission.
Good morning to you. It's Charlie here. I dare say, you know, with your looking back a little bit, how far would you have to go back at a time when people would have said, this can't happen? Someone with a disability in space, and everyone would have sat around saying, you know, that's never going to happen.
I don't think very long. I think this is an exciting project that the European Space Agency have spearheaded. It's a world first. I think even a few years ago, people would have said, no, we need these superhuman, perfect physical specimens to go into space. What is changing is that the space sector is growing and evolving. Here in the UK, it's growing.
Wow.
I remember a time growing up after Helen Sharman had been into space, our first British astronaut, when it seemed like the UK wouldn't be taking part in anything to do with human spaceflight. And yet here we are today, having just made record levels of investment into the European Space Agency with our now 4 in total European Space Agency astronauts. It's mind-boggling,
Astronomical.
even to me, but it's really exciting because of what we can do to champion the sector, to show everybody how important space is.
Wow.
And to see, hopefully, you know, Rose and John fly into space one day and be part of that story as we explore and bring back science, the technology improvements that we get, and the inspiration for everybody.
Libby, we've spoken to you quite a few times on this programme. I can't remember if you actually wanted to go to space yourself.
My ambition was to work in mission control, to be on the ground, to support everybody. And I got to do that, and now subsequently work at the UK Space Agency. And that's one of the really important points. It's not just these astronauts that are there. The space sector employs over 50,000 people in the UK.
Incredible.
There are people all around the world keeping these astronauts safe in space, doing the science that we do. But we all rely on spacecraft every day to talk to each other, to look at the weather, to you know, work out where we're going to go in our cars with our GPS, our satellite navigation.
True.
And all of them require the engineers, the technicians, the accountants, you know, the managers, the lawyers, all of these things. It's a space sector that's growing. And I hope that by these astronauts, by us talking to you today to you know, show the excitement of the space sector, people see that they can come and be a part of that here in the UK.
Libby, presumably it must happen. Some people, even when they've, you know, achieved the amazing achievement of getting on the programme, do not cut the mustard. I mean, that must happen sometimes. For whatever reason, there must be dropout. What sort of thing it can and sometimes might go wrong during the training procedures?
Well, the European Space Agency have flown every astronaut they've ever recruited, and they've said to me today they hope that that's no different in the future. It's a very rigorous selection program, making sure that the people who have been selected have got the right psychological skills, the right physical skills, the right the right competence skills to learn the tools to be able to fly spacecraft, to do the fine experiments that they're going to be doing in space.
Wow.
And then they undergo from this point on a year and a half, 2 years of just
amazing
training to make sure that they're ready. So one of the things that we have for the first time is the Astronaut Reserve Corps. We saw those announced yesterday as well. And they're there should anything happen, should someone get really unfortunately unwell or something like that. We've got people who we know are excellent astronauts, absolutely could go to space, waiting in the wings to step into their shoes.
I see.
And that was Megan Christian for the UK yesterday. So it was a great day. We had a lot of UK faces announced as part of the ESA Astronaut Corps.
Incredible.
How long have they got for training before they kind of get chosen?
It's about a year and a half, 2 years for the people who are heading off to EAC. The reserve astronauts will just remain in their jobs. They'll do a little bit to maintain their medical certification through the time.
Wow.
And then should they be called up, should a flight opportunity arise, then they would also do their year and a half, 2 years of basic training.
Libby, thanks for taking us through it all.
Incredible.
Great job as always. Libby Jackson, Head of
There you go, guys.
at the UK Space Agency. Take care.
So if you like this video, please a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Sunday Gems. Yep, subscribe to my channel, Sunday Gems. This is my friend Sparky and Jimbo on the ITF Friday Free every Friday at 3 to 5 p.m. on the Sarah Hills Radio Station show every Friday, and Digital Dice 1500, 1700, and listen to me on the, wow, you name it, the Woking Radio Station show, Lara show with John Andrews every Sunday at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Channel Sunday Gems on the force spill. We always put my spot the needs of the money. Way subscribe to Channel Sunday Gems. Bye.